Welcome to Saturday's Warrior. And we got some major news about BYU rescheduling with Notre Dame the next 2 years of home and away. But tonight, we're not really focused on that. We're focused on the matchup BYU gets because Notre Dame bowed out of playing them this year, which is Georgia Tech in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. And joining us to talk about it is Rec Talk. Rec Talk, thank you so much for hopping on. I really look forward to breaking down this matchup with you.
For sure. Now, this is news to me, or like I just read this like 30 minutes ago. I guess they couldn't reach an agreement with USC because USC don't need to play Notre Dame. They're in a conference that does nothing for USC. Like tradition and all this stuff is long gone anyways in college football. So they're scheduling you in place of USC?
That's right.
Why would you do this?
We're on the same level as USC. You know, I have no idea. I'm trying to process it still because when I first saw the headline, I just saw that the agreement was ending. I was like, oh, I'm going to have to open this up later and read about it. I had no idea that it was that involved BYU. I just saw that USC and Notre Dame was ending. I was like, that really sucks. I remember when Notre Dame and Michigan put their rivalry on hold. I was like, this is lame. Another casualty of realignment. And that's all I thought it was. And then Adam was texting me and telling me about the game. So I went and looked it up. But because, my initial instinct was, oh, Notre Dame is avoiding another tough matchup. You know, they avoided this. And it turns out it's the other way around. It's USC avoiding Notre Dame, right?
It is. So from what I understand, both schools were spooked about playing a tough non-conference game in November. And the only slot they had for each other was in November. And so Notre Dame wanted to move the game back. USC said no. And given everything that happened with the committee, Notre Dame refused to play this game late in the season, terrified of the impact it would have on their ability to go to the playoffs. So they bowed out. USC said, we're not doing it earlier in the year. And BYU said, absolutely. We just lost our P4 game. We need another one. So they jumped in real quick.
So let me just be clear. Y'all don't like cuss and stuff on your show, right? Because that's going to tailor how I address Notre Dame on your show.
We are a little bit more family friendly. Maybe we'll put it that way.
Yeah.
This is a BYU friendly environment.
with the BYU thing. So look, these are the biggest. I didn't think Florida State could be topped with being crybabies, entitled idiots, and all of this nonsense, right? Except Florida State actually had a legitimate grievance with the playoff committee. This is the two best teams on their schedule. They lose to, both of which are playoff teams. Okay, and then they're mad at the ACC. Because the ACC is an easy target and they can't really swing back. That's why he's coddling Sankey and like, oh my God, me and Sankey, we have such a good relationship. Sankey. All right. Now, I saw someone on Twitter today. I have to preface this with, I'm not making this up. It was some Notre Dame dude, and he's like, we're playing in Provo. Next year, y'all playing in Provo, right?
Yeah, we are.
BYU scared yet? And I'm like, listen, you could play them Saturday if you had a pair. But that's why Georgia Tech's playing them. I mean, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Miami wins, right? And Alabama wins. The two teams that they thought they should have been in over. Now what's the excuse? Well, we should have been in over Oklahoma. It's just like my daughter makes more sense in arguing with me, and she's 5 years old. So I can't stand them. I hope y'all beat the soul and will to live out of them. I do. I hope you beat them so bad they tear down touchdown Jesus in their stadium. There's nothing that would make me happier. But yeah, what I got to say about that.
I don't know if there's anything left to say.
We'll take it.
That's it. It really is wild because this whole. I was saying this last week too because and you heard us talking as you were hopping into the stream backstage that I don't really get into a lot of Twitter battles, whatever. But ever since this Notre Dame thing has happened, I can't help myself, and so I've gotten wrapped up into a few. And the more I get wrapped up in them, the more they show up in my feed, and the more I can't help myself. So I've kind of stepped away from it a little bit. But they're just so easy to argue with because they just lay it all out there for you. It's just low hanging fruit, and they make no sense, and it's easy just to pick it apart. But I am just,
It's just further into fantasy world. Well, I saw him tweeting during the Miami Texas A&M game. Jeremiah Love would have scored by now. Tell you that.
I saw that.
We would have beat Texas A&M by more than that. Well, you played them and you lost to them. I mean, the minute that you start getting away from what happens on the field and then coddling what makes you feel better and then start typing about how important your feelings are to everyone, you're off in la-la land somewhere, and that's where they are.
So I actually want to talk about this a little bit. We had mentioned BYU losing their game because the ACC decided to switch things up, and you're doing kind of this hybrid. Half the conference is going to 9 games, half are staying at 8 this next season. And so talk to us a little bit about the logic behind that. I know that we're getting off topic here, but since we've got you on, I'm really curious because that seems like a really bizarre approach to it, especially less than a year out, leaving basically BYU high and dry trying to fill this game. Now, it's worked out with Notre Dame, but otherwise, who knows who we would have filled the game with.
So I'll be honest with you, I don't know all the details of that. I've been out of the loop a little bit. What I do know is there were people calling the ACC kind of sissies for scheduling less conference games than other conferences. I actually think it's the opposite. The reason that they're doing that is because they need to schedule other Power 4 teams like Georgia Tech's playing Tennessee next year. They're playing Georgia, which they play every year. They're playing Colorado, which is an easy win for anyone, as you know. Not to get derailed too much, I don't think Colorado has a single defensive lineman returning on their roster, period. It's like The Big Short. I don't know if you've seen that film. You probably have. I was early about Deion. I was not wrong about Deion. It is imploding spectacularly. But look, I mean, who cares how many conference games the ACC plays? It's in a bad way. And it's in such a bad way, they're the only conference that's going to put up with the nonsense of Notre Dame, which irritates me.
Well, for now, and we'll see if Notre Dame doesn't, pout and take their ball and go home from the ACC as well. I know they're locked into some contracts.
And play who? Who?
That is the question. That is the question. They can cobble together a schedule every year. They absolutely can, but they're never going to get into another scheduling alliance. No other power conference wants that scheduling alliance that ACC has with Notre Dame.
No, and your commissioner came out and said, "Kiss my rear." Yeah, I don't want no part of you. And I would tell Pete Bakalakawuka the same thing if he was here. And that was killer, man. I love that.
Yeah, that was good. I like that too.
Yeah, Brett Yormark's not afraid to throw down, although he was afraid to throw down and stump for BYU until it was too late. But that's been, I think, the one thing that I've been upset with him about. But
you have every much of a claim to that playoff spot as Notre Dame does. You had 2 losses to the same team who's a top 4 seed, right? Which is a better resume than they have.
Oh, we did have we had a better resume than Notre Dame. So 2 things are true at once. Notre Dame, it was fair for them to feel like they got hosed because the committee was signaling that they were in until they got scared and they're like, oh, we can't leave the ACC out altogether. Now let's go for Miami, which is what it feels like happened. And so I do think Miami winning the head-to-head against Notre Dame makes sense that they'd be in over Notre Dame. But BYU has a better record than either one of them. So that's why I'm upset. It's like, I understand why you're mad, Notre Dame, because they kind of told you one thing and then pulled the rug out from under you. But BYU really wasn't even in the conversation and should have been and should have gotten in. We knew we wouldn't. So that's maybe why it doesn't hurt quite as bad, because we kind of saw it coming. But you're right. I feel like BYU had the stronger claim to it.
Or Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt has a claim to it. And their coach came out and said, we had opportunities. He did the grown man thing, something none of those guys know anything about. We didn't earn it, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, it happened. Notre Dame took their ball and went home. They were throwing a hissy fit, which is too bad because it could have been, quite the matchup. The 2 first teams out. Now Georgia Tech looked like a shoe-in for the playoff for much of the season. Played Georgia really strong there at the end, and is definitely look, is definitely a tough out. Now, the ACC, that happened. That was weird, whatever. But I would argue that Georgia Tech is probably the best, if not at least the top two, one of the top two best teams in the conference this year. So obviously, this is going to be a good matchup. How is Georgia Tech feeling coming into the Pop-Tart Bowl?
Like doo-doo. That's how we're feeling. Our whole offensive staff is gone except for Chris Winkie, who's the quarterback's coach.
We've had call plays.
Yes. Who else is going to do it? The water boy? Yeah, he's the only guy left. It's like that meme of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when everything's moved out and he's just looking in an empty room. That's what Chris Winkie's doing right now.
Wait, so I missed this. Where did they go? Are they fired or are they on to other jobs?
Well, it started with our offensive coordinator, Buster Faulkner, going to Florida. All right. Then Jeep Wade, who is our offensive line coach, goes to Nebraska because they fired Rayola's uncle or whoever the heck it was. And then, he's going to take his Pat Mahomes cosplay routine somewhere else, I guess. He hit the portal. Then I might have the order wrong. Our running backs coach went to Virginia Tech with James Franklin. Wide receivers coach followed Buster to Florida. And the guy that was the heir apparent to Haynes King, Aaron Philo, is probably going to follow now. Yeah, which is just a killer. So, it's Haynes King's last game, and that's great, and that means something. But, look, especially for quarterback, you have X number of big shots you can take, and that's it. Like, you're just done after that. He's been overdrawn on that for a while. So we'll see. We've lost 3 of the last 4 games we've played. The only one we won was Boston College, who Foxborough High School could probably beat. In fact, the only game they won was Fordham or whoever the heck it was. So the entire Tech fan base is not great right now, or at least I'm not. We still haven't named an OC. And then Key's saying, well, we don't want any distractions. And it's like, look, the portal opens up the second, man. You got to get your OC in place. So, look, I think matchup-wise, this is no good for Tech. You've got the Big 12, running back or player of the year at running back, and that Martin cat, Bachmeier is a heck of a quarterback. Can you tell me why he wears 47? I've heard different things.
I don't know if any of us can really tell you why he wears 47. He was played middle linebacker for a long time, obviously given his body type, and then he's switched over to quarterback. Was super successful there, but keeps his middle linebacker number as a sort of mentality, a little mental edge, a little nod that he's going to run you over when he meets you in the middle there, and actually backs that up with his 240 pounds. He's been running over some guys.
He's 240 pounds.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Dang, dude. Dang. Which is, people kind of forget that you were kind of written off preseason because your other quarterback got involved with the hanky-panky there, and then he's gone. And so it's like, okay, well, BYU, there's no way that they're going to be that great this year. And you're a pretty dang good team. And in fact, I'm surprised you're only favored by 4.5. I would still bet you to cover at 7.5 in this game.
Really?
I would, yeah.
Chris Winkie was like 40 years old winning a national title and the Heisman or whatever. Can't he rekindle some of that magic as an offensive coordinator? And
I don't know. Ask Dion. He was a great player, and that seems to be working out great for him. I mean, he did call plays in Key's interim year and did a good job with that.
So he's already had a stint calling plays. They're not. I thought this would be like a tryout to see if he wants to hand Winkie the keys and let him be an OC.
It could be, and he was kind of doing a tour on the media, like he went into the local radio station, which, make no mistake, if he's doing that, that's orchestrated by the school. He's not doing that because he felt like doing it. He got approval to do it. I would highly doubt if we hire him as OC, but we'll see.
So tell me, I was interested in the last few games where Georgia Tech struggled a little bit. It seemed like a defense that had been so stingy throughout the first half of the year, gave up quite a number of points. What was there an injury? What were the issues there that kept popping up?
No, well, it looked like our defense was stingy, but I mean, you go back and look at the yardages they were giving up. They gave up a ton of yards. How many passing yards did we give up against Duke? All right. How many total yards we give against Duke? A ton. What happened against Duke? We had a 95-yard scoop and score. They screwed up 2 field goals. They fumbled again inside of their own 5. And so we had been like this bend but don't break. In fact, I got in massive arguments with my own fan base because after the Duke game, I was like, something is wrong with this defense. I'm telling you, there's something wrong with it. And then someone demanded an apology from me after that Duke game. Then you go into the NC State game. They put up 586 yards on you. Oh, this could happen to anybody. Meanwhile, they go, get beat like a drum against Miami next week. Don't even have 300 yards of offense, I don't think. Then you play Boston College, and you're lucky. You gave up 540 plus to Boston College, man.
Wow.
You would have been Tech would have been their only Power 4 win. Then you go into the Pitt game. You get down 28-0 and lose that thing. And then we're like, look, if we're going to lose, let's lose a different way. You play Georgia, and you hold Georgia to under 360. They had like 350.
That was impressive. That was an impressive game. I was watching parts of that game.
Right, but then, like, I don't know if you guys like. I'm an electrical guy. We like multiplex our football team, meaning we only select one input. So we can either play good defense, or we can play good offense, or we can play good special teams. But that will always come at the expense of playing like complete trash in the other 2 phases of the game. So we didn't score a single touchdown against Georgia. And you're way worse off now going into this bowl game with your staff leaving, players opting out, which I'm interested because BYU is kind of, I don't want to call it an outlier in college football, but it kind of is for how you address, like how you handle players. Like I'm pretty sure your coach is this true? Did your coach have to be Mormon?
So I'd call it an unwritten rule. Okay. It's not ever been officially declared, but neither has there been a coach who is not a member of the Church of Jesus Christ. So it's pretty much an unwritten rule.
What's that?
He was.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
I've always thought he wasn't. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you have it.
So I would think you don't have as many opt-outs as the average team does.
I don't know what you think, Trevor. To me, it seems like we don't. Roster retention has been pretty good. But in this portal era where everybody's jumping so fast, we've also had quite a bit of success. What really stood out to me was the 2023 year. We went 5-7. It was not a good season. And I thought you'd see mass exodus. And we didn't. And that team banded together, came back and did 11-2 the next year, largely because of that roster retention and kind of that chemistry that developed with the team. So I think they've done well. I still hold my breath every transfer portal season. We get a few that leave. Most of the time, it's the ones you'd expect. We had a 4-star wide receiver who was buried on the depth chart, couldn't get on the field, so he's going somewhere. You know, you got an offensive lineman who's been there a couple of years, can't break the top 2, so he's going. So it's those you'd kind of expect, and you know the portal's good for that. But we'll see. I'm waiting until after this game and still holding my breath because it at the same time it feels like every year we get at least 1 or 2 impact transfers where you're like, man, I really don't want to see that guy in the portal. But
yeah, okay, interesting. And along these lines, I don't know if you guys know this. So years ago, like 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I will put my soul on the line to win a football game. I don't care. I'll do anything. So I said I would give my life to Jesus if we beat North Carolina, and I converted to Christianity. Then this year we were going into overtime against Wake. I said, all right, if we win this game, I'll convert to Mormonism. And since then, I have been rooting for BYU. So this is like the match made in heaven. Now, I said if we beat Georgia, I would convert to Satanism, but all of them had already done, all their fans had already done that. So that was that.
So your soul's up for grabs, man. It just floating with the opponent. I like this. Putting
Yeah,
it all
man.
on the line.
I just covering my bases.
That makes me think of what was it? The Mummy. The guy when the mummy's coming, he pulls out all the chains and he's got the different talismans.
The
And
Star of
the
David.
cross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
me
you,
watching football.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm interested from a Georgia Tech standpoint. I saw the transfer from is it Philo the quarterback?
Yeah.
Any other impact transfers that have come out pre or guys who said we're opting out, we're not playing?
Don't quote me on that. I mean, we had a linebacker that was a contributor. I think Melvin Jordan hit the portal. We had a lineman, a center that hit the portal. Now that was part of the issues, some of the issues we had offensively where we were playing like two centers, which you never want to do. One of them hit the portal. We haven't had anyone that would be devastating. So like names that would be devastating for us, wide receiver Isaiah Canyon, which if I was a betting man would say he ends up transferring. Running back, I can't remember. Whenever I get in the show, I can't remember people's names. Jamal Haynes has been kind of a disappointment for us this year, but the guy that's been behind him, Malachi Hosley, that would be a huge one to lose, but we haven't had any like that yet.
So nobody's taken off pre-bowl game at this point. You're going to be fully equipped as far as players go.
Yeah, which is shocking because you've lost your entire offensive staff.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy to me that your offensive staff got poached en masse. I mean, in one sense, that's sort of a tip of the cap to you guys that everybody wants your staff. But on the other hand, they went to so many different schools. It's not like your OC went to Florida and took everybody. They all just sort of scattered and got poached by other schools, which is that's kind of crazy. You guys have just won.
Which is concerning. I'm not going to say it, but that would imply a few things as to why are these guys so willing to leave.
That's fair. That's fair.
Well, I mean, you're right. It could signal something about the program, but unfortunately, it's also like Georgia Tech is, and BYU often has been. Fortunately, we're having some success and some continuity right now, but one of those areas that's a kind of a stepping stone. You go there and you use it to then get to another opportunity, something, a step up. So real quick, I just wanted I got called out again. Home Slice says Croton was his parents' Sunday school teacher in
Baton Rouge.
Which is
when he won a national title with LSU.
I was gonna say, yeah, he did. He went to LSU. So yeah, I don't know why I thought he wasn't, but that's all right. I'm called out. I am corrected, and I will repent later.
Our football coaches preach football and gospel. That's the expectation.
Well, yeah. I mean, football is religion in the Southeast. I mean, it is synonymous with religion. When I went to church growing up, I was told I couldn't go to heaven and root for Georgia Tech. Literally, that's what I was told. Now, the heck with that guy. He's a total idiot who lied about playing at Georgia. Come to find out he walked on. Hey, anyone could do that. What are you talking about, dude? I could walk on to Tech right now. As long as I was a student.
I have a question. So Haynes King, I'm sorry, I'm ignorant of what year is he?
This is it.
This is it. So
he's done. This is his swan song, right? I mean, this is the send-off.
This is a send-off. He doesn't have any draft stock, in my opinion. I don't think he'll get drafted. I don't even know if he'll get picked up. Is
that a perceived weakness in the passing game? He's a super strong runner. Sure. But is that why?
Yeah. I mean, it's like an open secret that his shoulder is destroyed.
Oh.
I mean, last year he missed half of the season with it, and then him playing last year against Georgia was like this big surprise. Now, it looked a lot better this year because our schedule was it's the easiest schedule we've probably had in 30 years. So it's easy to throw for 400 yards against NC State and Boston College and Syracuse and Virginia Tech, who had fired their coach. So I think that it made Haynes King look like a better passer than he was. If you watch, he really struggles throwing downfield. And once you take away basically like half the threats in the passing game that a team would have, or a quarter of the threats they would have. Just makes it a lot easier on the defense.
Yeah. So what's the mood of the team right now with Georgia Tech? Are they excited for this game? Are they trying to send off Haynes King? Are they thrown by all the lack of continuity in the offensive staff? Like, do you expect your team to come out and play a big game, or is this going to be a bowl game where they just don't look energetic?
No, I think they're energetic. I mean, obviously, I don't know. I'm not a player. I'm not at practice. I'm not in the locker room. Like, the truth is, Georgia Tech really lucked out with their bowl draw. Like, because Notre Dame opted out, like people will kid you about the Pop-Tart Bowl. Oh, you're playing in the Pop-Tart Bowl. It's a trash bowl. It's not. It's not. And like Pitt got screwed. They are playing or played like Eastern Carolina. And they're a decent team. Yeah. And then Tech steps up and plays, a top 15 team. What are y'all, 11th or 12th? I think.
Yeah, 12th right now.
Yeah. So it's a really good bowl draw. I think had Tech drawn like Eastern Carolina or someone like that, then the mood would probably be different. But I think they're excited to play.
Yeah. I mean, it's the old Tangerine Bowl, right? So it's actually one of the better non-playoff bowl games, and it's definitely done a great job rebranding itself, right? Like, it's become a really fun bowl game. There's been some exciting bowl games the last couple seasons. Is it just 2 years old maybe? But really high profile, fun games. It's kind of where we wanted to end up last year and didn't. We wanted a crack at Miami. So I honestly thought we were going to get UVA. So I was kind of excited that we were getting Georgia Tech instead. But I want to pull this up because actually I should have led with this. This is the most important question we have for you tonight. What is your favorite flavor of Pop-Tart?
I hate to admit this live on your show because I love sweets. You don't see me standing up with my gut, but I love sweets. I don't really care for Pop-Tarts though, to be honest with you, because I don't really like jelly, and it's
Georgia
like
Tech's gonna
jelly.
lose.
What's that?
You just jinxed it. You guys are gonna lose.
But
admitting a dislike for Pop-Tarts leading up to the bowl game. I mean,
if I have the power to make Tech lose, then I'm like the biggest sadist that's I guess ever lived. I've been rooting for him for a while. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll eat a top. Like, I wouldn't cancel any plans to eat a Pop-Tart or something. Like, I'd already have to be free, but. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I wanted to share this because I like what we've got. Both teams have embraced the Pop-Tart Bowl, and this is what we're looking at for
sprinkles.
The sprinkles on the helmet. I like the little touch there. Of course, we're getting some crap from Utah fans because we gave them some crap that all of them have the Rose, because I went to 2 Rose Bowls and lost them both, but they have a lot of fans still use the Rose logo, like on Twitter handles and stuff like that. And so they get a lot of crap. And now we put this on our helmet and they're dishing it back at us.
Like you're betraying the traditions of your school or something.
Yeah, something. And
or like we earned it for making fun of them for the last 5 years because they were so obsessed with their Rose Bowl losses. And
gotcha.
So now that we've made fun of them for 5 years, we put some on our helmet. They got to dish it back.
I like it. And you're right. The history of this 2 years, like last year, we got to see Cam Ward screw his own team and sit out the second half of that game. I've never seen a team let a player, and I'm trying to think of the most tactful way to put it, but I can't think of a more tactful way to put it, but just stick the screws to them like that. Like, if a player was like, hey, I'm going to play long enough to break your records and then go sit on the bench, I'd say just sit on the bench. You can just stay on the bench then. That's crazy.
It's one half of football. It's one half of football. I could not believe it. That you look ridiculous. Then you got to explain all this to the teams that want to draft you. Because then you're going to say, well, in week 18, if you broke the NFL passing record, are you just sitting? Are you done?
Doesn't seem to hurt him, but I mean, he went number 1 overall.
I mean, you go number 1 overall, so it all worked out for Cam Ward, but it was a bizarre decision. Sit out the whole bowl game. Okay, I get that. That's a business decision. I may not like it as a fan, but I get it. You got millions riding on that, and you blow out your ACL, you're toast. So fine, sit it out. But you play the first half and sit the second. That was the dumbest.
To break records, to break school records. I mean, that's the only reason he did it.
Yes, to break the school records. And who cares about winning the game? I mean, obviously he didn't because Iowa State comes back and beats them.
They lost. Which is like, look, that tells you that God loves football. Okay. That's what that tells you. All right. I have to intervene now.
Well, hold on real quick. I just want to show you what we were robbed of when Notre Dame turned down the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Dang, dude.
That would have been a look to end all looks. I mean, Notre Dame's really leaned into the custom unis the past decade or so. That would have been one to remember.
Yeah, can you imagine? They would have turned their nose down at that so much, which is funny because, like you said, they've done so many alternate uniforms. It's like, you guys have a great classic uniform. Why are you guys always messing with it? Obviously, it's because money and they'll sell them, but oh, man.
Well, they want to talk about, oh my God, the traditions of college football and the history of college football centers in South Bend. Well, you know how much people care about South Bend, Indiana? They had the College Football Hall of Fame up there, and no one went to it because no one gives a crap about South Bend, Indiana, or Rudy. So they moved it to Atlanta, a place where people actually want to be. And also, they'll forsake any tradition to get what they want. That's the other thing. Like, it started with players opting out of bowls. Then last year, Marshall had to opt out of a bowl, not due to their choice, but because their coach got hired by Southern Miss and they had like 38 players at the portal. They literally couldn't field a team.
I remember that.
This year, you have teams willingly, and I'm not in Notre Dame's defense, but to be fair to them, they're not the only ones. I think Kansas State opted out of a bowl.
State.
This is
two Big 12 teams tap out of bowl season, saying, "Oh well, their coach transitioned. They didn't know how many players would be around." I mean, I agree. It's ridiculous. The seniors on those teams deserve a bowl game. Just show up and play the game. You know how to play football.
That need experience. That need the guy that's a sophomore that's gotten a handful of playing time this year that needs to develop. And now he's deprived of 15 practices and game experience.
Yeah. And that's something that Kalani's really hit on when they're talking about, oh, you up for the bowl game? Is this, you got teams opting out? And he's like, look, you're giving me another spring ball. Except at the end of it, we don't have to play each other in some meaningless game. We play a ranked team. How could you pass this up? How could you, just for the development of the program, you're talking about the future of the program, the springboard for the program, you get to evaluate your depth right before the transfer portal opens. It's invaluable, and to have teams just sort of thumb their nose at it and be like, "Nah, we're not gonna participate," is crazy to me. Well, and you're leaving the money on the table and the practice time.
Well, also, I can't imagine what it's like for these players. I think Notre Dame, but some of these other programs, you guys mentioned Kansas State, whatever. All these teams that thought, okay, we're bowl eligible, we're going. Notre Dame thought they had a lot of football left ahead of them. But then just to all of a sudden say, no, it's over, and be like, oh, I didn't even realize the last time I was putting on my uniform was the last time. And it's just completely over. That moment is gone, and it's done. Pack it up. And
you didn't even know.
You'll never play football again in any sort of meaningful capacity. But then also, these kids, like, you don't look at, like, they get a free vacation. They get a bunch of swag. They do all sorts of cool activities. That's not really relevant to us, but in terms of these kids and like what they've worked for and what they're looking forward to,
and their families,
and their families, and then they don't get to do that because they say, oh well, our coach is leaving, whatever. Like, to me, I think that is a big miss. And fortunately, the Big 12 fined the two teams that rejected those bowl games. Now we had some others that turned them down, but those were teams that weren't bowl eligible that got the invite late because. Yeah. And so by then you could say, well, we've already, dispersed or whatever. But that's a big miss, I think, from these programs.
I think that it should disqualify you from postseason play the next year.
For the next year? Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Now, then you could say, well, what if they don't make the postseason? I don't know. I'm just saying, here's the thing. The only reason that there's as much money in college football as there is is because you and me and the fans that watch it, you wouldn't be able to sell advertisement and you wouldn't have these massive TV deals that funnel conference payouts if you didn't have people showing up and watching the game, let alone going to a game. I mean, how much does it cost to take you, your wife, and a kid to a football game? $1,000, probably something like that with tickets if you have to travel. All right. And who's the first one to get messed over? It's the fans. You miss out on a bowl game. Hell, they're doing talent enrichment fees in your tickets now. Like, oh, you're going to pay the NIL. Yep. You're going to pay this. There's not a week that goes by I don't get asked for a donation from Georgia Tech. The teams opt out of their own spring games. Which is solely, it's for only one reason, is for the fans. You get to go watch, it's relax, you get to meet players, they usually sign autographs. No, we're not doing that. Not doing it. So anyways, I'll get off my soapbox, but it gets me.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, especially, like you said, these programs are hurting for money, put increasing fees, and then they turn down an opportunity to bring in money. And it's not just for themselves, it's for, in the case of everyone except for Notre Dame, it's money that goes to the conference as well, and it gets split up amongst these other schools. So these schools turning it down actually impacted BYU's bottom line as well.
It did, and that's why I'm glad they fined him. They should have fined him more, because that's a big hit to conference revenue, and you're depending on them. On top of that, it's a whole postseason record, and we could go off forever about what that means, and because SEC doesn't schedule anybody meaningful preseason, pre-conference play. And so you get out there and thank goodness they're getting whipped in the playoff. That is fantastic to watch that happen. But your bowl season is the time where now SEC has to go play because they get assigned bowl games. Get out there, represent your conference. I know conference pride is the last thing anyone's worrying about these days with all of the conference realignment and all the money that's out there. No one cares about it. But if you want the Big 12 to stand on a bigger platform or the ACC to stand on a bigger platform, go to your bowl games and beat the other conferences, because you're not getting a whole lot of opportunities now out of conference play. Everybody's scared to play the big P4 games before their conference season starts.
What do you think is increasing faster? The rate like that you have to pay for players, like particularly like defensive ends and quarterbacks, or RAM? I'm not sure. I was actually going to build another computer so I could have one in both rooms that I like to stream in. But I'm not paying $400 for 16 gigs of RAM. That's a completely separate thing. But I'm just mad, dude. I'm just mad at everything. I'm mad at the world right now.
We got the salty version of Rec Talk today.
Dude, you ain't lying.
He wants the salty Pop-Tarts, whatever flavor that is. So, yeah, I don't know. At least we got college football. We got one more game ahead of us to enjoy regardless. I do want to say, like, going back to actual football and the football game to look forward to. I mean, both teams, they've been compared a lot together. I'm not like super familiar with Georgia Tech's program, but when I think of Georgia Tech, I think like a lot of people, we think of the triple option. I know they've gotten away from that now, and it's been a more exciting brand of football generally. But like both teams, one common opponent we had was Colorado. We both played them kind of similarly. We both played them earlier on in the season, back when they still had some hope, and it was completely beaten out of them. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like Georgia Tech's going through a lot of transition, but I mean, I don't know, like Adam, what have you heard? Like a lot of similarities about how the programs are built and the philosophy there. And I don't know. I'm wondering if you could talk to that Rec Talk as well as like what this program is kind of about and how the identity has changed.
I mean, I guess they're similar. I don't know. The thing is, BYU has money Georgia Tech doesn't have. Like probably the best kept secret in college football is the amount of money backing BYU, right? You had a cookie guy come in and give the middle finger to Penn State, okay? That can't be overlooked, which is also hilarious for Penn State. But, I mean, not to get into like a taboo subject, that institution has a lot of money and the people in it to support your program. Tech's issue is has been buy-in to the program in general. And maybe it's been like that at BYU in the past, and it's ramped up with the changing landscape of college football. Georgia Tech's keeping up, but they're more as far as like buy-in and keeping up with the times. They're doing what programs were probably doing 5 or 10 years ago. So you still have this big gap, which is why, like Romello Height for Texas Tech, he played at Georgia Tech last year.
It was Georgia Tech. I was thinking he was on the West Coast. He was at Georgia Tech.
So he started, I think, at USC. Then he transferred to Auburn. Then he transferred to Georgia Tech and was amazing. Now he's at Texas Tech, and I think Texas Tech spent $7 million on that defensive line. But
$2 million to him alone.
So $2 million to him, $2 million just to Romello Height, but they can't pay Mike Leach's family the money that they owe him. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
Oh, but don't worry. Someone on Twitter told me behind closed doors they paid him, but they didn't tell nobody about it. So I guess that's been taken care of.
Makes sense. No, the money aspect is real in college football, and I'll tell you, I think BYU's been a beneficiary of it. If I had it my way, we would preserve some level of amateurism, even though I think that the players deserve to get paid to some degree. The way it's come out is so chaotic. I think there could have been a middle ground there where players do benefit financially, but we don't have this Wild West arms race. But BYU's been the beneficiary of it. There has been a lot of, I mean, I can't remember the name for what they call it in Provo, Silicon Slopes or something like that. A lot of tech companies, a lot of really wealthy backers there. And so the Crumble Cookie guy makes the headlines. The Utah Jazz owner makes the headlines, but they got a bunch of other dudes besides that who have come out and really pledged a lot of money to the program. And so they are now that it's allowed, because I think BYU in the past, when the rules were so strict, BYU was going to adhere to the rules. They made that clear as a program. I'm not saying nothing ever untoward happened. I mean, that no program's perfect, but that was a big deal to the program to follow the rules. Now that the rules are the Wild West, man, BYU's in there like, okay, let's write the checks. We're going to do this and be competitive. And it shifted the narrative a lot. And BYU's been able to compete at the top of the Big 12.
Yeah, what I would ask is, like, I don't mind players getting paid at all because they were flat out taken advantage of for many, many years. All right. Oh, well, they got an education. Look at how much money is in college football. They couldn't sell their autograph. They couldn't accept gifts from people. Like if someone was going to give them a free tattoo, that's what their coach couldn't take them to dinner. That's the way it used to be. My only ask is just enforce the rules that you have in place. Like we all hear about tampering. Isn't that tampering? Yes. How come like when Mac Brown said, I know people are tampering with Drake May, why don't you think he named a name in that? Because he's doing the same thing.
It's a glass house. Yes, he's going to get called out. That happens all the time. People will accuse BYU of tampering, but they don't say BYU because they're turning around. They're doing the same thing to BYU's players. I mean, it is. It's happening left and right.
So it's not sustainable. Like with all the opt-outs, like in the NFL, there's a period. The Falcons got in trouble with this with Kirk Cousins. Boy, I'm glad they cheated to get Kirk Cousins to draft Penix and then eat a $120 million contract. City of Atlanta is a dumpster fire in a lot of ways with professional sports. But at least okay, there's a period. Like, wouldn't it be nice in college football? You can only contact players during this period. They can only hit the portal in this period to declare. Like that, it would make it.
They've got to do it because you hear from the players that it's just a madhouse all season long. And a lot of that now is getting directed to their agents, fortunately. But it's still a madhouse. People are trying to pull them aside all throughout the season. They're trying to focus on football. That's what they need is a stronger central authority to come in and say, don't pull a coach away from a team that's going to the playoff. Whatever we got to do to fix that, what happened to Ole Miss and others, we've got to fix that. That's ridiculous. How often that happens.
I'm pretty sure Lane still gets whatever bonus. Like if they won a national title, he would still get bonus.
He would. He built that into his contract. I mean, so that's all got to change. The timing of the portal and all that. The players can't be contacted. The coaches can't be contacted. But the coaches. Yeah, but you got to have a strong central authority to do that. And I don't know how many years away we are from something like that.
Yeah, the problem is like private schools like BYU and like USC. Like, how do you govern like these private institutions? and make it legally. It's very complicated from the standpoint of having a collective bargaining agreement. I don't know how that would work with private institutions.
Yeah, it'll get complex. It will.
I don't know. I do. I have a question for you. We had you on the show, Rec Talk, a couple years ago to talk about realignment. And now I just want to ask you real quick. I don't want to get too much into the rabbit hole. I'm just wondering, just because Georgia Tech to me is one of the most interesting pieces in this whole thing, because of market, because of academics, because of a lot of what they bring, they're a very intriguing piece. But when it comes to name brand, obviously they're not there with a lot of the other major players in realignment. So I could see so many different scenarios play out for Georgia Tech. Now that we've been through, there's been a lot that's happened since we spoke last. Where are you feeling at this point for Georgia Tech's future when that next round comes?
Before I answer that, no one knows. So everyone makes videos about this. Oh, I think this. My grandma's dog's groomer said that Miami's going to the Big Ten. Florida State was telling you for 2 years yesterday they were getting into the SEC. Didn't happen. Who knew that? How long did you know before Texas and Oklahoma left for the SEC? It just happened.
Mm-hmm.
No one knew about it.
Yep.
Now, as far as I'm sure Georgia Tech is positioning to get into the Big Ten. If it was like a decision today and the Big Ten's like, all right, we're taking, I don't know, 6 more schools or something crazy. Maybe not 6, like 2. I don't think Georgia Tech would be one of them today. But like grabbing Georgia Tech and Miami might be nice for the Big Ten. That stretches you down. Like Georgia and Florida are top 3 recruiting. Like, what is it? California, Georgia, Florida, Texas. Those are your biggest recruiting grounds in the state, and you could grab 2 of them. So it would have to be, I guess, perceived value things like that, as opposed to, I guess, the brand that Georgia Tech's in. Now, I poo-poo on all that. Like, I'm a college football fan. It pisses me off that now college football fans are lawyers and they're marketing experts and they're contract experts and all of this. And I'm like, I just want to watch the game. Can we talk about the game? When did you guys become polymaths? Like every fan, it's wild to me.
But it gets the clicks. Yeah. So, anyway, that's a great answer. I got one more thing because I was looking for something else, but I stumbled on this, and I've been all over the place. But it said this what I envision Notre Dame seeing when they walk into the BYU locker room next fall.
Oh man!
Out, guys. Missed out on your chance to be part of the Pop-Tarts Bowl. One of the most fun bowls that there is out there. Took their ball and went home. Instead, we get to have a much more pleasant opponent in Georgia Tech. So we really appreciate it.
Well, they take the fun out of everything. They take the fun out of everything. They got to make it. They're almost like Archie Bunker. You know, if you ever watch All in the Family, like they're just these curmudgeoned like people who are stuck in 10 years ago and are like completely self-centered.
Or 37 years ago, was that their last national title?
Georgia Tech has a more recent national title than them, which is saying something. They might be, well, you only have half the national title because you had to split it with Colorado. Well, half is more than 0. Maybe they didn't come down there to South Bend and tell you that. Whatever it is, if it's more than 0, it's more than you. That's all I know.
I love it. Rec Talk. I really appreciate you coming on and giving us your not so subtle opinions on things, especially Notre Dame. So can you let everyone know where they can follow all your content?
Yeah, you can follow me at Rec Talk on YouTube. You just type in Rec Talk, I'll come up. Like this morning, I put out a video that had nothing to do with football. It was like 5 rules for driving in Metro Atlanta, which like blinker is optional, that kind of thing. You can find, look, I do live shows all the time. I haven't uploaded as much as recently, but I stream all the games. I'll be streaming I'll be streaming some of the bowl games, and those are fun. I streamed North Carolina play Cal, which was so boring. I looked up things I would rather do than watch that game. I figured out you can get insurance for alien abduction. So go check those out. And you can find me on Twitter at @rec_talk because some sex bot hacked at rec talk without the underscore. So now I'm at @rec_talk. And you can see me, like I was talking trash to Notre Dame on there today. So that's a bunch of fun.
Make sure you go follow him. The underscore is very important if you want to get to the good content. So do not forget the underscore. And you mentioned that in Atlanta. I was there on business once, driving a rental, left the airport just as it was starting to get dark. I realized I was driving around the freeway in Atlanta with no headlights on, and I couldn't figure out how to turn them on because mine's always just set to automatic. So you say blinkers are optional. I would choose do the headlights still.
Yeah, headlights aren't optional. Like, I can't
yeah.
stress that enough. And also, that's terrifying because that area around the airport is a rough area, like Hateville and whatnot. So I'm glad you made it, man. Congratulations.
Me too. Yeah, thank you. I'm still here.
I took an Uber when I was in Atlanta last. I'm going to stick to that.
Yeah,
I'm not driving.
That's a smart idea. I did as well the last time. So, or take MARTA. That's the other option there. So
yeah.
All right. Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much. It's been a great conversation. Really look forward to the game. Can't believe the season is over already. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go check out Rec Talk as well. He's a blast. And thanks so much. And go Cougs.
All right. See you guys.
See ya. Oh, he's out.